Before you start this video, take a deep breath. What you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a journey. It's about losing everything and still holding on. About a promise that never died, even when the world fell apart. If you've ever loved someone so much you'd cross mountains for them, this story is for you. Let's begin. Part 1, The Beginning, The Promise. 1. The village of Valewind. The village of Valewind was small. Just 30 homes, a stone well at its heart, and a single path winding its way down from the mountains. It was the kind of place where people knew every story, every secret, and every scar. And in Valewind, there was a boy named Elias and a girl named Mira. They were born minutes apart, in the same night storm that shook the valley. Their mothers held them close as thunder rattled the rooftops, whispering prayers that the world beyond wouldn't steal their children away. And for a time, it didn't. Elias and Mira grew like twin flames, one wild, the other steady. Elias had a reckless smile and a laugh that could pull anyone from darkness. He believed in stars that whispered secrets and rivers that sang songs. Mira was quieter. Her strength was not in wildness but in patience. She knew how to wait for the harvest. She knew how to listen when no one else did. But when she smiled, it was as if the sun rose twice. They spent their childhood building worlds out of sticks and stories. They made crowns from woven grass. They dared each other to climb higher, run farther, dream bigger. And at night, they lay side by side, staring at the sky. Where do you think we'll be one day? Elias whispered. Here, Mira said. With you. He turned to look at her, eyes soft. Then promise me. I promise, she said, and he made one back. No matter what happens, I'll find you. They were 14 when the first soldiers came. The smoke on the horizon. At first, it was only stories. Whispers from merchants at the edge of the village. Tales of cities burned, of men taken away, of women crying for children who never came home. Valewind stood so far from the war that they believed they were safe. They were wrong. One night, Mira woke to the smell of smoke. She ran to Elias's house, heart pounding. She found him already outside, clutching his mother's hand, his face pale. The soldiers are here, he said, and then they ran. The village burned behind them. People screamed. Elias and Mira ran together, hands clasped tight. But in the chaos, they were torn apart. Soldiers came between them, pushing, shouting. Mira. Elias screamed. She saw him disappear into the crowd, his hand ripped from hers, and then there was silence. Mira was taken north. Elias was dragged south. The broken world. Years passed. Elias became a shadow of the boy he had been. He survived because he had to. He fought because he had no choice. But through it all, he never stopped searching. For years, he crossed wastelands, broken cities, and ghost villages. He learned how to barter with thieves, how to mend a wound in the dark, how to sleep with one eye open. But at night, when the world was silent, he whispered Mira's name. Over and over. As if it was the only thing holding him to life. One winter, he found a boy freezing by the side of the road. He gave the boy his coat, built a fire, and told him stories until the boy stopped shaking. Who are you looking for? The boy asked. My other half, Elias said, and he kept walking. Part 2, The Journey, The Search. The City of Ashes. Elias reached the City of Ashes after 3 years of wandering. It was a place where the broken gathered. Refugees, runaways, the lost. He searched every face, hoping for hers. He found a ribbon. Frayed, blue-gray, just like the one Mira used to wear. He followed the girl who wore it, but when she turned, her eyes were not Mira's. He apologized. She said nothing. But that night, Elias stood on a rooftop, holding the ribbon in his hands. She was here, he whispered. I'm close. The Iron Valley. The old woman told him to go east. Past the Iron Valley, she said. That's where the ones who disappear end up. He crossed the valley in 7 days. Black rock and dust, winds that screamed like dying animals. Wolves followed him. Once, he nearly drowned crossing a river swollen with rain, but he didn't stop. On the 8th day, he found a village. And in that village, a boy drawing pictures in the dust. Elias knelt beside him. What are you drawing? A woman, the boy said. She has a ribbon in her hair. She says her best friend will come find her. Elias's hands shook. Where is she? Past the mountains, the boy said. She waits. The mountain of silence. It took him months to reach the mountains. He climbed until his hands bled. He lost his pack in a rock slide. But when he reached the top, he saw it, a valley green and bright, and in it, a small house, smoke curling from its chimney. He walked the last mile on shaking legs. And then he saw her, Mira. She was older. Stronger. She carried water from the well, her hair braided, a ribbon woven through it. A child walked beside her, holding her hand. Mira, Elias whispered. She turned, their eyes met, she dropped the bucket and she ran to him. They fell into each other's arms, years of pain and hope crashing down like rain. You found me, she said through tears. I promised, Elias said. Part 3, the end, the reunion. The home they built. Elias stayed. They planted seeds together. They told stories to Mira's son. His name was Taran. One night, Taran asked, where did you come from? Elias smiled. Far away. But I was always meant to be here. Mira squeezed his hand. He never stopped searching. Taran nodded as if that made sense. Because you loved her. Yes, Elias said. More than anything. The story they told years passed. The valley flourished, but sometimes, they would sit beneath the old oak tree Elias planted, and he would tell the story again, about a village that burned, about 2 friends torn apart, about a promise made under stars, and a love that never gave up. Some stories are fiction. Some stories are true, and some stories live inside us forever. If this story touched your heart, share it, because we all need a little hope. And maybe, someone out there needs to hear this today. Subscribe for more stories that stay with you.